Okay, today we are going to make a shadow box out of a recycled box, and then you're going to come up with your own creative idea on whether to fill it with a robot, flowers, or to make some sort of place for some of your favorite toys. Some kids have asked, why do I like my troll doll so much? Well, I don't know. Maybe you can figure it out. Okay, so we're going to start by making the shadow box, and you can see here I have a Sara Lee box that I cut open and have the sides still attached, and then I've attached my corners using additional cardboard. I'm using staples, but you can also use hot glue gun if you have one, or Elmer's glue, or wheat paste. So I've got a box here to get started, and I've shown you before you've got to make a hole to start cutting in the middle of something. And I want to keep this intact because I'm going to keep as much as the sides as I can there because I want to use that for my frame. So I'm just going to cut a little square here just to get the thing open. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut diagonals up to the corner. And what's great about keeping the box intact is that it helps the structure be strong. So now look at that. How fast was that? How long did that take us? Less than a minute. Now I still have this side. These sides need to be reattached. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of hot glue in there. You could also use stapler, which I have right here. I have to re-close the box, and this is just a regular office stapler. Don't need anything very special here. You could also use tape or glue, masking tape, scotch tape, whatever you need to get your box. There is the beginning of our shadow box. Now, so I want you to start thinking about what you're going to put inside of the shadow box, because we are going to make that in our next video, but you need to start collecting things. This is a stick that I got from my yard, fallen out of a tree, and this is where the line, we're going to look for some really interesting lines, and there's my toilet paper tube flower at the top. This is just a toilet paper tube folded like a cone, and I attached, this is periwinkle vine that's in my backyard. I'm going to end up pulling these off and just using the stick because the stick is very pretty. But you could also do animals. Here is a zoo of animals out of toilet paper tubes. Here is a city out of toilet paper tubes. And here are some dinosaurs. Okay, so the next step is the frame. And as I said before, I'm using a Pellegrino mineral water box because it has such a nice metallic effect to it. But you can use any kind of box, soft drink, or those kinds of boxes that we have collected. So I like that support that I have for the corner, so I'm going to do another one like that. Just estimate it. You could use a ruler and trace and be a little bit more specific if you'd like. I'm going to just cut some of that off. We don't need it all down there. And see how it's not even, but that's totally cool because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some layering. Right now I'm using these to stabilize my corners and keep them down. And I'm going to finish this up and then I'll show you the next step. So I went ahead and attached these to the corners with staples. And it makes it a little bit more solid, keeps those corners down. And I've just got my staples there. So now I have the end of the box here that will be very good to fill in some of my areas. And look at that, it's got some nice silver on it. You don't have to go out and buy a Pellegrino box, but look at and choose your materials is what I'm suggesting based on what you have at home. And this is a really nice thing, because I don't know if you've ever seen that sometimes paintings are framed in a gold frame. So we're kind of mimicking that or copying that idea. So when I say I'm going to make some art out of this, is I'm going to make some decisions based on what I want it to look like. And I want this to be all to be a little bit curvy, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that down to match my curve. And see, now we just start seeing some different kinds of patterns. And I like how we see some rounded there. It's kind of cool. So this is a work of art in itself. And in fact, historically, gilded frames were a work of art. So now I got a little bit too much on this side, which is kind of cool. So I can just go in and cut some of that out and have a consistent edge to it. I might want it a little bit smaller on the bottom, so I'm going to go in and do that, cut that a little bit more. Well, that's looking pretty good. I don't see too much of the type. If I do, I'm going to go back in and use this beautiful rounded edge here. Add that to it. Folk artists have done stuff like this for a very long time. They've used found materials and created art out of them. Okay, so the next step, you could paint if you have some paint, or you could leave it brown because that's very pretty. It's a nice color, with it balances this very nicely, and I could start adding my other items, or I could add something really cool. Okay, I'm going to work on this one now, which is the one I painted, because I want to have it contrast with my super bright colors. So I don't know where I got this, but I've got some very nice green masking tape. There is something called florist tape that you could also use if you had it, or just any kind of tape. But I'm going to go ahead and use this to wrap around the leaves. Here's my other leaf. This is going to be the kind of plant that has leaves exactly across from each other. And I like having them a little bit curved. And our field of grass, some clouds in the background. I'm going to go ahead and attach the flowers to the bottom, and we could possibly stop there unless I want to go ahead and add my bug. I think I might have it step out a little bit. We'll see. Okay, so I made a little stand for my flower. I rolled the toilet paper tube and cut the base and folded it up, and now it can stand right inside of my shadow box between my various levels of grasses. And I'm not going to be able to, I can put that right in there and adjust it. And I'll put some glue in there when I can set the box down. But I like how I've got different layers happening here. And my leaves are curled. I've got layers of grass plus my frame, and then I attached my... So I decided to go ahead and make my robot out of an Altoid box, and I thought it would be cool to put some cardboard on the inside here to separate out and make it have some dimension to it. Got a couple. I got 2 grommets for eyes, but this one is a silver one, but I've got the attacher for the gold for that one, so I've got 2 gold eyes now. And I went looking for some cardboard as a backer. I'm going to use this as his belly. Whoops. Ouch. Looks like my gun is falling apart. And I want to be able to attach it to my box. So look what I found. I found a piece of cardboard that had, it was for the handles, and I folded it in half and cut the angles so it's symmetrical. Cut it here and here. And now I have kind of a Rosie from Jetsons robot. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the box to that. She's got her hands there. I don't know if I even need these. We'll see when I get to the end. I'm going to put some nuts and bolts in there. I'm going with the idea of symmetry. So symmetry means the same on this side as that side. So I want everything to be the same. I thought I had another nut, but I'm going to have to find one. And there's one. And I found this as a nose. I think it's kind of cool on the side. It will kind of point down. And I was going to do this as a mouth, but I don't know. Oh no, I remember I was going to do these staples as a mouth. There we go. How about that? Pretty darn cool. Once we get it in the box, we'll see what it looks like if we need to have something else. But I think that looks pretty cool as it is. Let's take a look. Wow! Now that I have that, I can do some ears maybe. Ooh, yeah, those will look cool. And what else? I've got these last two. I could do these underneath the hand. I could attach those. Yeah, I'll attach those. There you go. That's the ticket. I'm going to attach these here. So she looks like she's got some hands. Well, you know, a day of making art has turned out some pretty amazing masterpieces today. And it was all what we call on the fly. It was using the materials that we had available to us. I'm going to try to not have the numbers on there. How about that? My Rosie the Robot, made out of an Altoid box and a Pellegrino box for the frame, and a Sara Lee cheesecake box. I guess I don't. I've got some grommets for the eyes and a spray bottle top, the aerosol top, some nuts from Nuts and Bolts, and some piece of metal. I've got part of the box and some ties from Fruit Bag. So we have a great project. This could be a Father's Day project, or something for your brother, or something for your uncle, or maybe your mom or aunt likes robots, or maybe you like robots and you just want to make a robot. But that's the construction for the robot. We also made today a flower box. It could be a wonderful Mother's Day gift, or it could just be a nice little home for your trolls, which is what I'm going to do, because you know how much I like my trolls.